you have seen the previous video uploaded on the concept of income elasticity of demand and cross elasticity of demand. Now today we are going to discuss about the concept of equilibrium price. Now you know that in a market the price of a commodity is determined by the joint forces of demand and supply. Because when you go for buying a particular commodity, you negotiate with the seller and a price is determined where the buyer is ready to buy the product at the said price and the seller is ready to sell his product at the said price. And that price is nothing but the equilibrium price. So equilibrium price is the price which is determined by the joint forces of demand and supply. You know that the demand curve is downward sloping to the right because of the inverse relationship that exists between price and quantity demanded. And the supply curve is upward sloping to the right because of the positive relationship that exists between price and quantity supplied. Now in the given diagram we find that the demand curve has intersected the supply curve at point E. This point is called as the point of equilibrium. Point of equilibrium. Now, the price which is prevailing at this point in the market represents the equilibrium price. See, this is your equilibrium price. And at this price, the quantity demanded and supplied in the market are equal, representing equilibrium quantity. See, here along y-axis we are measuring price in rupees per unit, and here we are measuring quantity demanded and supplied in units. Now remember that how is this equilibrium price determined? Say, Professor Alfred Marshall compares these two forces with the two blades of a scissor. And he says that it is not the upper blade alone which helps to cut a piece of cloth, but the two blades are equally important in cutting a piece of cloth. So similar is the case with equilibrium price also, that it is not the demand force alone or the supply force alone which actually helps to determine the equilibrium price in the market. The two forces are equally important in determining the equilibrium price. Now he further says that if a stone is hanged to a string and is dispersed from its state of equilibrium, then after a certain point of time it will automatically come to the position of rest. So similar is the case with equilibrium price also. So suppose the price is now OP1. Now when the price rises, the demand for the commodity reduces, because other things remaining the same, higher the price, lower is the quantity demanded. And contrary to that, you find that higher the price, higher is the quantity supplied, because of the positive relationship that exists between price and quantity supplied. So what you find that at price OP1, the quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded by Q1, Q2, leading to excess supply in the market. Now what will be the effect? There will be negotiation between the buyers and the sellers. There will be a maximum price which the buyers will be ready to pay for the product. That means there is a maximum price over which the buyers will not be ready to buy the product, and there will be a minimum price which the sellers will be ready to accept for the product. That means below that price they will not sell the product. So through this negotiation process, the price will come down to its state of equilibrium, where the buyer is ready to buy the product at the going price and the seller is ready to sell the product at the going price, and that price is nothing but the equilibrium price OP, at which the quantity demanded and supplied in the market are equal. So this is how the equilibrium price is determined in the market. Now we are coming to the next part of equilibrium price, that how changes in demand or supply will affect the equilibrium price of a commodity. So in our earlier class we have discussed the concept of change in demand and change in supply. What is change in demand? When the demand for a commodity changes due to change in any of the factors affecting demand other than its price. Say if there is changes in the price of related goods, or if there is change in income of the households, or if there is change in taste and preferences of the people, that results in change in demand, and there is either rightward shift of the demand curve or leftward shift of the demand curve. And similarly, change in supply, when the supply of a commodity changes due to change in any of the factors affecting supply other than its price. Say for example, that if there is changes in the prices of factor inputs, say if the labor cost increases or decreases, or if an old and obsolete technique of production is being used for production, if the goal of the firm is to maximize profits or to maximize sales, the supply of the commodity will change at the same price, resulting in either rightward or leftward shift of the supply curve. So now we will see that how will the equilibrium price of a commodity change when there is change in demand given its supply to be constant. See here in the given diagram, DD is the demand curve which slopes downward to the right because of the inverse relationship that exists between price and quantity demanded. And SS is the supply curve which slopes upward to the right because of the positive relationship that exists between price and quantity supplied. Now see, OP is the price prevailing in the market, and at this price the quantity demanded and supplied is OQ. Now supply remaining the same, if there is an increase in demand, the demand curve will shift towards right. That is D1, D1. And what we find that the new demand curve D1, D1 has intersected the supply curve SS at point E1, at which the new equilibrium price is OP1, which is higher than the previous equilibrium price OP. And at this price, the quantity demanded and supplied increases to OQ1 from OQ. On the other hand, if there is decrease in demand, the demand curve will shift towards left, that is to D2, D2. And what we find that the new demand curve D2, D2 has intersected the supply curve SS at point E2, at which the new equilibrium price is OP2, which is less than the previous equilibrium price OP. At this price, the quantity demanded and supplied reduces to OQ2 from OQ. So what is the effect here? That when supply remaining the same, the demand increases, both equilibrium price and quantity increases. And contrary to that, if there is decrease in demand, both equilibrium price and quantity reduces. Now we will discuss that how the equilibrium price of a commodity change when there is change in supply given its demand to be constant. So in the given diagram, as we have discussed earlier, that DD is the demand curve and SS is the supply curve. The two have intersected at point E, at which the equilibrium price is OP, and at this price the quantity demanded and supplied is OQ. Now suppose if there is increase in supply. Now increase in supply, when there is increase in supply, say when a new production technique is used, or when there is fall in the prices of factors of production, the supply increases at the same price, resulting in a rightward shift of the supply curve. So here the supply curve shifts towards right, that is to S1, S1, and the new supply curve intersects the demand curve DD at point E1, at which the new equilibrium price is OP1, which is lower than before. And at this price, the quantity demanded and supplied increases to OQ1 from OQ. Now, contrary to that, if there is decrease in supply, the supply may decrease on account of what? If there is an increase in the prices of factor inputs, or if an old and obsolete technique of production is used, or the taxes are increased by the government, or if the objective of the firm is to maximize profits, in that case the supply of the commodity at the going price will reduce, leading to leftward shift of the supply curve. So here the supply decreases and it shifts towards left, that is S2, S2. And the new supply curve S2, S2 intersects the demand curve DD at E2. At this point, the new equilibrium price is OP2, which is higher than the previous equilibrium price OP. At this price, the quantity demanded and supplied reduces to OQ2 from OQ. So this is how the changes in supply affects the equilibrium price of the commodity when demand is given to be constant.